Oh, hello. Hello, hello. One last thing I need to do while we're going live because, I'm super prepared. All right, you guys, it's Monday and I'm Sugar Jones. So, you know what this is? This is Hot Mess Monday. I know. Again. Who's here? Where are you from? Let me know where you're watching. Are you watching on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube? Let me know. If you've never met me before, I'm Sugar Jones. I'm your hot mess in residence. This is Hot Mess Monday. You can follow me in other places. You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Sugar Jones. And you can also find me now on TikTok, roller skating, like all the girls, all the kids, roller skating on TikTok. But there it's I am Sugar Jones because I was late to the game. How are you guys doing this Monday? What's going on? What are we doing? What are we stressing out about today? Did anybody watch the launch yesterday, by the way? Did you watch that fabulous launch? We're actually talking about it this morning. And of course, like I'm all thinking the worst case scenario about the launch, about those of us that watched the Challenger explode. And I was like, oh my God, every time I watch a launch, I'm just like, this is that part, this is the part. And I start to panic a little tiny bit. And I'm like, this isn't that day. Relax. So anybody else that ever saw that has PTSD still from the Challenger, let me know. Anyway, you guys, I can see numbers out on the screen, but I can't see names. So please say hello and happy Hot Mess Monday. Today, I'm going to get a little woo. I've been like kind of yelly about the election and about stupid shit. But today I want to get a little woo with everybody and talk about one of these principles that you'll hear if you've ever been in any kind of therapy or in any kind of 12-step program. I was actually in a 12-step program. Don't worry, I wasn't. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I went in for. I will tell you what I went in for. But if you were in a 12-step program that didn't do what I did, then it's fine. Anyway, we're going to be talking about surrender. But first, I want to bring your attention to the fact that we had 184,000 cases of COVID diagnosed 2 days ago. Just one day. So it's really, really important that we all keep our masks on. I'm going to drive that home every day, I guess, until this is all eradicated or until we have a vaccine, which looks like a couple of companies are making some serious strides. So that's good. But wear your mask, you guys. A few weeks back, a friend of mine kind of gave me a little shit about a mask. And she said, oh, I don't mind. It's okay. Don't worry. And I was like, I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about me. I'm worried about you breathing on me. I don't want to get sick. And unfortunately, her daughter, and we're praying for her daughter tested positive for COVID. So wear your mask, okay? Anyway, thank you, Jana, for being here. One of my favorite people ever. Sorry I couldn't make it to your class the other morning, but I just can't seem to wake up right now because of the time change. Anyone else just dying with this time change? I slept, I swear to you, 20 or 30 hours this weekend because I just couldn't wake up. So if you also couldn't wake up and you've been struggling with this time change and you hate the fact that at 3:30 you're looking at your watch going, we only have one more hour of daylight. What am I going to do? What should we do? What should we do? Raise your hand. Give me a like. Give me a heart. Do whatever. All right. So I'm going to get into our little woo-woo conversation. All right. So last week I tweeted that I was starting to get comfortable with a certain level of uncertainty. And people thought automatically and understandably that I was talking about the election outcome and what was going on and all the questions that were, and all the conspiracy theories that were being bantied about. Just based on what I've seen and based on the numbers, I just wasn't stressed out about that part of it. I was pretty sure we'd be fine. And look, at a week later, everything looks like it's pretty clear. There's still some tantrum throwing from the one side, but whatever. But I meant everything. I meant I was starting to get comfortable with a certain level of uncertainty with everything. I lost my job in March, as many of you did. Many of my friends continue to lose their jobs and be furloughed, or I've even had friends and acquaintances that have decided to just shut their businesses down because they're tired. They've said the words, "I'm just tired. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of, the restrictions going on and off and this and that. And in San Diego, we're back into purple tier, and which means that, certain things are closed and, people are like, can I get my hair cut? Where can we sit to eat? And those are all very like superficial things to be worried about. But there's still things that, people that are driving the uncertainty and just kind of creating this level of unease throughout our communities. And of course, am I going to get sick? And what's going to happen to my friend that got sick, or my friend's, parent that got sick, or anybody else? You have this constant palpable worry. And there's only certain things that we can really control. And that goes back into things that I went through when I was in this really neat 12-step program called Celebrate Recovery. It's Bible-based. So if any of you guys go to Christian churches, you might know about it or hear about it. But anyway, I went to Celebrate Recovery, 10, 12 years ago. I started going, and I went for several seasons. You can do this 12-step. It's over the course of about 10 months. It's a 9 or 10 month program. And every week you go through something and you deal with things and you go through all the amends and the forgiving and the letting go. But through it all, there's just this underlying theme of having to surrender. You surrender to your higher power, whoever that is, whatever that is that you may call it. You may call it God, you may call it the universe, you may call it spirit. You may be an atheist and you're surrendering it to the rock out in your backyard, or, whatever. It's fine. But surrendering this, what you're surrendering is you're surrendering control. You're not necessarily surrendering a thing, or you're surrendering everything. You're surrendering control over everything. You're surrendering control over your finances, relationships, how other people behave, how other people treat you. There's only certain things that you can control. And that was the major thing that I got out of Celebrate Recovery. I was a codependent, still struggle with it. I will be very honest with you. And it sounds like, like a silly thing, like, that's made up or whatever. Like some people think fibromyalgia is made up. So I guess it's the fibromyalgia of therapy issues. But codependency can be really, it can really just control your life. You're trying to control everything, but really what's happening is that codependency is controlling you. I was married to an alcoholic for quite a few years. 15 years of our marriage, I decided to end it completely, and we separated. And after all the years of trying to control how much he drank, where the alcohol was, what time he got home, and just making sure that dinner was ready by a certain time so that he'd get home and he didn't go to the bar and didn't go to this and that. And if he asked me if I needed to go to the store, I knew that meant that he wanted to stop and get some alcohol too. And I would always be like, nope, don't need to go to the store. All the other things that I tried to do to control his alcoholism, he still died. Like, that sounds horrible, but yeah. 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago now, he still died. And so all that thinking, all that trying to control everything, the outcome was still what the outcome was. There was nothing that I could do about it. But, when I finally decided to step away and just focus on myself and try and take care of what I could take care of and control what I could control, which was where my kids and I lived and how we lived and where where I made my money and what we ate and who we spent our time with. That was pretty much it. That was all I could control. I can't control other people's behavior. And I certainly couldn't control my husband continuing to drink until the point of his death, which was really sad. And that's an extreme, an extreme situation. But just to kind of let you know, I understand uncertainty. And I have a very good relationship with surrender. So I can laugh about it now in some ways. I still cry a lot about things, but surrendering what you thought it should be. Exactly, Jana, completely. Surrendering what you thought it should be, surrendering the outcomes of everything. And right now we're all going through things that we think should be going on. I should have my job still that paid me X amount of dollars. I should, still be able to see my kids and my grandkids and my parents. I should be planning a beautiful Thanksgiving dinner where everybody comes to the house next week. I should be doing all these things. I should be planning my vacation at Christmas or the New Year. There's all these things we should be doing right now, right? But we're not. So we have to surrender all the shoulds, and we have to stop shooting all over ourselves, because that's not doing anybody any good. If you're just joining me, you guys, my name is Sugar Jones. Today is Hot Mess Monday, and I'm getting very, very woo-woo with you today. We're talking about surrendering to uncertainty, and all we have right now is uncertainty. It's amazing the amount of uncertainty we have, isn't it? Here's one thing I heard yesterday: nothing is ever certain but uncertainty. Yay us! So I tweeted this thing about uncertainty, and then something else came up, and blah, blah, blah. And then I showed up at church yesterday, and guess what we were talking about? We were talking about uncertainty. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's just like the theme of the week, because that's what we're all grappling with, right? So there's so much that's uncertain and you can't control it, but there are things that are true. There are things that are still core to who you are and your existence. It may not have to do with your job. It may not have to do with where you're able to continue to live. It may not even be who remains in your life right now, physically, spiritually, even just emotionally in your life right now. Just reconsidering some relationships just from the election, or just from this, arguing about why you should wear a mask. What the hell? Why do I have to explain anymore? I don't understand. But we hang on to these things, right? We hang on to these things that we think we can control to the point of failure. So like we hang on, and this was the point that was made yesterday, and it really struck a chord with me, because I failed to make my husband stop drinking, because there was nobody that could make him stop drinking but him. There was nobody that could choose to live a cleaner, healthier, safer life but him. So I failed to do that, but I also failed in that I let that really control my life. And here's how I would stuff my face. I would just eat. I gained so much weight. I ate so much garbage. I snapped at my kids all the time. I yelled and screamed. I was really pleasant to live with, you guys. I had to control my temper with alcohol myself. So all of a sudden I'm just like, wait a minute, I'm drinking to manage how I feel about his drinking. Who's the idiot here? It was me. So yeah, so that's fun. Raise your hand if you've ever done that. Things eventually got better in that I decided that I couldn't control anything. But even in that, things got worse. Physically, they got worse. He kind of disappeared, and we ended up living my two youngest kids and I ended up living in an RV down at the harbor. God, that just sounds so horrible. It just sounds awful. But I mean, #van life, right? There's all these upsides to living in an RV. It wasn't having room. That's definitely not it. And it wasn't having closet space, and it wasn't having a magnificent kitchen. It was none of that. But what it was sometimes I slept in this overhead area over the cabin, right? And so I would peek, people would start showing up to the harbor early in the morning to go surfing. And so I would hear noise, and it would wake me up, and I would pull the back and peek open. I would see the sun coming up over the palm trees, and I would see the glow of the sun in the sky over the ocean. That wasn't horrible. That was beautiful. That was something not a lot of people see every morning, but I got to see that because I was homeless. Because my kids and I lived in an RV down at the harbor. Woohoo! I know. So there were some good things. So rather than just focus on the bad shit, like how hard it was to have the three of us in one tiny little Winnebago, I tried to find the good things. It did suck. A lot of times it did suck. But on the weekends when people showed up to just spend the weekend at the beach, And it was like we were just one of them hanging out at the beach. I'd always try and pull my RV, back it up to this one, these fire rings, or there was this one spot that was at the end by the jetty. And, we'd have our camping chairs out in front of the fire rings, and I'd have my little coffee out in front. And, at night we'd have little bonfires. We had bonfires all the time because we were down there. So that was another upside. But right now, everyone's freaking out about the election, about COVID, about everything that's going on. To a certain degree, we were able to control the election in that we were able to go out and make your one vote. You were able to, share with your friends and neighbors resources on how they could get out to vote. We could let people know that it was in certain states still time, they still had time to register to vote. But once that vote was cast and once you're counted and everything's all handled and everything's certified, even with all the craziness of people saying, lawsuits and this and that, like everybody was freaking out. What are they gonna find out? They're just gonna find out that the count was still right, that that Biden and Harris still won the election. And even with Biden and Harris being denied so much access, and the transition is going to be just kind of a non-traditional transition, we also know that there are cooler heads involved, and there are people that know stuff and know people that everything will work out. It's not going to be as smooth as it could have been. And it's a little crazy watching people melt down, especially a particular person who is supposed to be the leader of the free world, watching him melt down on Twitter. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't. And I know right now in the micro, right here sitting, just like, but people are taking off to Parler and they're creating all these conspiracy theories and they're, yep, that's true. What are you going to do? What are you going to do about that? Are you going to go to Parler and be like, no, it's not true? No, my friends. Those people are going to go do their little shitstorm where they're going to do it. It's going to happen. The whole point is that we had an election. We were able to get the outcome that we wanted because we worked our asses off informing people. Congratulations. Well done, us. And it was amazing. It's still amazing. All the things that we're finding out about it. Even my cousins who are still thinking that conservatism is the right way to go. Whatever, it's fine. To that point, there's nothing else we can do. There's just not. Getting on Twitter and reading updates of crazy people is not going to make anything better. You know what it's going to do? It's going to make you crazy. It's going to make you nuts because it's just feeding more uncertainty into you. And uncertainty is not a thing that humans are good with. We stress out. And how do we cope with that stress? We drink, we eat, we yell, we throw things. We're mean to people in the streets. We yell at each other at the grocery store. It's just not good to have all that uncertainty constantly fed in. Now, I don't know about you, but my screen time went down. Oh, Space Shifter says Trump is still our president and he will be for the next 4 years. Space Shifter, you're one of the people I'm talking about. You're nuts. So it's not going to happen, brother. So congratulations on outing yourself as cuckoo. But I hope you come to terms with the fact that Trump lost. It's just how it is, my friend. So anyway, you're going to hang on to this uncertainty and stress yourself out, or you're going to find some coping tools, right? Okay. Let me see. So here's one main thing, and this is just going to piss some of you guys off. And then I'm going to get messages from people saying, how do you do it? So meditation every morning, just sit down. And one of the things that was said yesterday wasn't meditation, your mind daily. And that's basically what a meditation is, right? So if you're not very woo, and if you need to be, in a certain, if you need to read a certain book or whatever to get that, then you know what? Read your scriptures. Read scriptures, say it out loud. Well, I take it you didn't. Oh, why would I listen to the president speaking on Breitbart? Oh, Space Shifter, you're so cute. Right. I'm not even going to address Breitbart. Anyway, so close to being banned, my friend. Actually, let's go ahead and do it. Whatever, I don't care. Anyway, meditation. And then you can like look at somebody saying something about the president speaking on Breitbart of all things. Let's see. If the president spoke on TikTok, I could give less of a fuck about it. Anyway, set your mind daily. Have your meditation practice. Yes, this is how. Hold on. How do I get rid of you again? I forget how to do that. It doesn't matter. Ignore. Set your mind daily, morning meditation, mantras or scripture over coffee. So go outside, sit with your coffee, or stay inside if it's cold where you are. Stay inside, sit with your coffee, with your tea, with your water, with whatever it is you need to do. Have a little music on, have some silence, have the sunshine coming in the window, or do whatever. Don't turn the TV on. Don't check your phone. Just sit there and think of the beautiful things, right? All the good things. Set your mind straight. Find a verse that works for you. I mean, this morning, my son's first class had the song Lovely Day by Bill Withers. That set my morning in such a great mood. It just put me in the best mood. So I loved it. I enjoyed it. And I think maybe that's going to have to be part of my morning, setting my mood. All right, developing, creating more tool sets. So for instance, if you go to reach for your phone, here's another thing. We're still doom scrolling, you guys. We got to stop doom scrolling. There's no need for it. It's all good. People like my friend over here that think Breitbart actually means anything. It doesn't. You know it. It's just going to create more like chaos and stress in your life. Let them do their thing. They'll be managed eventually. It's all fine. So surrendering just means going with the flow, right? So go with the flow. Don't go find the bad stuff. But we also have to embrace change. The change that's happening right now, not necessarily just the election, but the changes that are happening just daily. Some companies or some businesses that were able to make it through this part of the pandemic are now seeing the numbers rise again, and they're seeing more things happen. So they're going to have to shut down, and you may be affected by that. Either they're a business of yours or a company that you worked at, somebody that might be a vendor, somebody, a company that you use for resources or anything like that. Just embrace the change. Change is going to happen no matter what. I still find myself, and maybe you do too, having little panic attacks. I see something, I'm like, oh no. And then I'm like, wait, that's not how it's going to work out. Cooler heads will prevail. Cooler heads almost always prevail. The last 4 years, even with all the craziness, cooler heads did eventually prevail. We had to do some yelling. We did have to do some yelling and some stomping around with our masks on, but it all worked out. Another thing to do is another coping mechanism is to think about something that you've gone through that has just been a tremendous just hardship in your life. Maybe you lived in an RV down at the harbor one time in your life. How did you get out of that? How did you survive that hardship? What did you find out about yourself, about your grit, about your ability to manage something? What did you learn? How did you, what did you learn that if you counted to 10, if you reached out to a friend, if you drank more water, did you find out the things that were bad, the way that you responded that was bad, that you don't want to respond the way? Then you know what? Then you want to make sure that you stay away from those things. So however you responded in a good way that worked out for you, tap back into that. Tap back into that feeling and tap back into that knowing that you made it. You made it through to the other side. It's the only thing that's helping me out right now is that as bad as some shit was for me, and I've, never been through a pandemic. I've never been through a complete shutdown of our country. Or of services in the area. I've actually been through that. We've all been through that now. We all got through it. It was hard. And it's going to happen again. If history repeats itself, and if we take any lessons from what happened in, in the earliest part of the last century, we're going to go through a worse shitstorm this winter. So it's a really great idea to just tap into what it was that got you through this last part of the shutdown and find that in yourself and just bring it back up, bubble it back up. Yes, this is a recording, so you will be able to watch it again and be frustrated again that I reminded you that Biden won, or be happy again that I reminded you that Biden won. What else, you guys? We're still going to have bad days. We just can't let the whole thing tick us out. Imagine yourself on the other side of it all. Imagine yourself next summer. And I know there's still going to be the virus is still going to be going around. It's still going to be going through our communities to some extent, greater, lesser, who knows. We may or may not have a great vaccine that may work and may not work. Let's just picture ourselves on the other side of all of this, doing the thing that we love to do. What is it you love doing? Do you love, I don't know, traveling? Have you missed traveling? Were you supposed to go to Italy last summer for your 50th birthday? Yeah. Then maybe picture yourself smiling in Italy, whatever, and drinking lots and lots and lots of great wine and walking through, Tuscany and the sun on your shoulders and just looking out and just seeing all the things that you've always wanted to see. Now you get to finally see them. So imagine yourself on the other side doing the thing that you've always wanted to do, and hopefully that'll get you through. There is one last quote that I'll leave you with, you guys, and it is this: trust the wait, embrace the uncertainty, enjoy the beauty of becoming. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. So what is it that's possible for you? What can you do? What things that you never would have imagined yourself doing before all of this happened and got rid of your job and got rid of where you live and got rid of certain people in your life, cleaned house? What are those things that now seem possible? Think about those things. Work on those. Surrender to the uncertainty. We're still going to yell and still going to be upset and still going to laugh at people that are idiots. But, and I'm going to leave you with Jana's. The upcoming holidays will be somewhat difficult for many. These releasing tips are good practice. Oh, thank you so much. Okay. Thanks, Jana. I love you. But yeah, the holidays are going to be hard, guys. But let's just enjoy what we do have. We do still have certain things. Some things are still there that we can enjoy. We still have little twinkly lights we can set up. And we still have people that we can reach out to. And God willing, knock on wood, we still have our health. All right, guys. Let's take a deep breath. And let's go forth and surrender. Have a great week, you guys. Love ya.